arc welding. And what you have right here, like I said, this is the gas. Right here, if you look inside, this is the metal right here. This is the wire that feeds out right here. And you probably can't hear it, but when you press the button, this comes out and then you can hear the gas too. And the reason for the gas is when the metal heats up and stuff, when the metal heats up and it's getting welded together, if that oxygen touches it, it can mess the whole thing up. It gets what's called porosity, and it gets a bunch of little thin needle holes in it. And so, you know, when you're out on the field or something, if you get too much porosity, the whole weld could fail. And if it's a big enough project, you know, people can get hurt. Yeah, like I said, you got the wire here. It comes through, comes out through the tube. What we got here is voltage. That's depending on how much voltage you got. You know, the thicker the metal, the higher the voltage you're going to want, and the more voltage you put up, the faster. This is the wire speed right here. The faster you're going to want the wire speed to come out. So you can notice. Turn down really slow. See, it only go down to 50. But if you watch that, the wheel right there, see how slow it comes out. You turn it up to 300, it's going to come spitting out, you know. We got a regulator on here to regulate how much gas comes out. You know, when you open it up, you don't want just, you know, too much gas pouring out, or else you're going to start wasting gas and it's going to start wasting money. And so what you got here is a regulator, and you got all these numbers right here, and what these indicate is CFH. And what CFH is cubic feet per hour, and that's how much it'll come out per hour. You got to make sure you have just enough. For MIG welding, the best is anywhere from 15 to 20 on the CFA. Once I'm done with this one, I'm going to TIG weld. TIG weld is tungsten inert gas. These things right here are the tungsten. I got all kinds of different tungstens. These ones are pretty much like an all-around type of tungsten. They have ones especially made for aluminum, especially made for magnesium, all kinds of different metals. You can see it starts out as a big 70-inch piece. And the more you weld, the more you grind it down to clean it off, the shorter it'll get. You know, it comes out as this little square top right there, a little round. It has a bunch of more attachments. It has a little tail piece that come off, and has a little cup right here. And then this goes in here, you know, once you have all the other pieces with it. And what the cup does is it regulates the gas. Just like MIG has CO2, TIG has argon gas. And just like MIG, or with all the other processes, it has the gas that helps it from getting porosity, helps it weld together better. One cord is for electricity, another cord is for gas, and the other cord is actually for water. This machine actually has a water cooler at the bottom because TIGging gets so hot, it actually, if you don't have a water-cooled one, you can't TIG for very long because your hands and the gun itself is going to get so hot, it's not going to be a good time, you know. This is a stick right here, a stick electrode. You see all this stuff on the end right here. Notice on the inside, there's this welding wire, a welding rod. This stuff on the outside is called flux, and what the flux does is the same thing as the gas for the MIG and the TIG. Is actually it helps when it burns off, it helps it weld together. Because if you don't have this flux on here, the arc is going to go everywhere, and it's not going to weld together very well. Right here, it looks just like the MIG machine, but it's actually a flux core. And the difference between MIG and flux core is, I mean, it's very tiny, you can't really see it, but on MIG it's just a solid wire, but on flux core like this, the flux that the stick weld has is actually on the inside of the wire. So that way, and this lays out a whole lot more metal than all the other processes. This is for like industrial stuff, like at my work where we build high rises and stuff. You know, all those big high rises in San Francisco. You know, you don't want to take the time and take it together because it's a tiny little TIG weld. You don't want to make it together, it's not going to hold. You don't want to stick it together because stick just costs too much. So this right here is the best thing to do. It lays out huge welds, and it's probably one of the strongest types of welding.